So I've done reloading for the day, and I picked this up at the local co-op grocery store. It's beer. Well, it's actually a beer kit in a 2-liter bottle. So I've seen these for years, but I figured I'd just try one of these and see what happens. So I got a red lager, Mr. Beer, 5% alcohol it's supposed to make. What caught my eye was the product date. The fabrication date is, February 28th. That's not that long ago. So the instructions are very simple. You take the cap off here, and you have a little vial full of yeast and a pressure cap. You put the yeast inside, put your pressure cap on, and wait for 10 to 14 days until the beer becomes clear. And at that point you refrigerate and then consume. So 2 liters of beer for $5. I don't know if that's a good deal or not. I kind of lost track of the price of beer. I just buy it when I want it. Open the yeast vial and pour contents into bottle. Alright. It's been years, over 20 years since I've made beer, and oh, that brings back memories. Alright. Alright, I'm just going to put the camera down and for a second make sure that I get all the yeast I can in this. And there we go. If I vaguely remember from brewing before with buckets and carboys, just let these sit. We're going to take this, we're going to put that up someplace where it's not too warm, but we're not going to put it someplace too cold, and we'll let it sit for 14 days. So here's our beer sitting and starting its fermentation. I think I'm going to actually move it from here someplace where it's not going to get any light. Well, it's day 2 of our little brewing experiment, and things seem to be going well with our Mr. Brew. One thing I wasn't aware when I started brewing this was this actually ferments under pressure. This is inspired by some traditional beers that actually ferment under pressure. I hadn't heard of that before, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I had it stored at a bit of an angle just to keep it out of the sun, so I got a little bit of that yeast scuzz. Hopefully that kind of works its way through this. But it's under pressure, as you can see from the cap. There's a bit of distortion there. I don't want to piss this thing off too much, so I'm going to put it back and just let it continue on in its fermenting journey. Well, here we are 9 days later. This is our pressurized beer that's been fermenting under pressure, and it's ready to go in the refrigerator. So what I'm going to do is take this, put it in the refrigerator for 12 hours, and probably going to be 24, and then maybe we'll have a taste test tomorrow. As you can see around the lip, you've sort of got that yeast stain going, and honestly, you've got some yeast and some sediment that's settled to the bottom, but frankly, if you've made any homebrew before, you'll recognize that that's just part of the process. Well, we've got our red lager, Mr. Beer, out of the refrigerator. So this thing's been festering for just over a week, and about 10 days actually. And it's been sitting overnight in the refrigerator, about 24 hours, and it's ready to drink. You'll notice it's still got some alien life forms living on the side, but that's just part of drinking homebrew. it didn't explode. That's a good sign. So we have a significant amount of head, but a fairly clear looking beer, so let's do that a moment. That's pretty good. Well, that's quite a drinkable beer. It's not too sweet. It's got just the right amount of carbonation to it. I mean, it's not super sophisticated, but it's got a little bit of bite to it, a little bit of dryness. And it was $5, and I brewed it myself. And the house didn't stink of yeast or anything like that while I was brewing it, so I think Mr. Brew is a success.